Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest episode of Code Blue yet, Quarantine Edition. I'm Matthew Messina.
And we're 6 feet apart. Welcome to Code Blue News.
You should have said your name.
No, they know my name.
Firstly, Brianna Graziano is here to talk about what students have to do for the SATs.
Attention all juniors. Recently, Ms. Killian sent out an email regarding the May SAT exam and all the directions on how to register. Overall, the May SAT test has been canceled due to the spread of COVID-19. The June test is still on, however, and the deadline to register is no later than May 8th.
We would recommend that juniors take the SATs in May and in June. But obviously this year, the May SAT is canceled, so I'm highly recommending they get ready for the June one so that they can take another one in August, and then if needed, they can take it in the fall. However, senior year is so busy that it's best to just prepare now. And this is kind of like their first direct link to colleges. It's the first thing that officially links them to colleges when they send their scores. So it's super important if any junior plans to apply for college next year, that they take the SATs soon. Juniors can get in contact with me through my email directly or through the Google Classroom that I shared with everybody the other day. If they didn't get invited, they can email me and I can send them a separate invite. I'll post anything for juniors related to SATs on the Google Classroom. I titled it Class of 2021, so they can all just look there. For seniors, I would just highly encourage all of the seniors to make sure they're checking their emails. I know Ms. Moriarty is sending out a bunch, and this is a really, really good time to work on your scholarship applications and your scholarship essays that were posted on a Google Classroom by Ms. Moriarty, and they're on Naviance. Also, for juniors, other than the whole SAT registration process and questions that they might have, I know it's very early, but if they want to fill out the brag sheet that I put on the Class of 2021 Google Classroom, I can perhaps start writing recommendation letters. Another thing for juniors and seniors, just keep an eye out for updates on AP exams. I had a webinar earlier today with College Board, and they said that tomorrow they should be coming out with more information and additional online resources regarding possibly taking AP exams at home, even if school is back in session. So I'm not really sure how that's quite going to work, but AP students should be checking collegeboard.org for any updates. I believe they said the 20th, which would be tomorrow, is when they're going to send out some additional information.
If you are interested in attending college, be sure to register before it's too late, just like your Miss McDonough homework. This has been Brianna Graziano for Code Blue News.
You guys wondering how to stay safe during this terrible time for our country? Well, Vincent has some answers for you.
Hey guys, I'm sure you've heard about the recent virus going around.
The coronavirus is spreading around.
The Italian government tonight put the
Because it comes from China. It's not racist at all.
Well, in order to help keep you and others around you safe, I'm here with some tips on how to prevent the coronavirus. You should have been doing this your entire life, but if you haven't, now's a good time to start. You take some water, and you take some soap, and you wash for 20 seconds. If you don't have soap and water available, hand sanitizer is the next best thing. Try not to come into contact with others if the virus is potentially present in your area. Limiting your contact with others and staying at home is one of the best ways to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. However, if you are sick and you need to go out, it is recommended that you wear a face mask. If you aren't sick and need to go out, you do not need to wear a face mask. In fact, it is recommended that you do not buy face masks if you aren't sick. Supply is running low. It is recommended that you clean surfaces that are often touched daily. This includes tables, doorknobs, handles, desks, phones, keyboards, toilets, faucets, and sinks. And there you have it. You've done your part in preventing the coronavirus. This has been Vincent Chan with Code Blue News.
So COVID-19 is having a pretty big impact on all of us, all students, but the seniors, this was supposed to be our big year. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going the way we want it to. Duggan has more on the story.
I won't revenge, I can't fake it. I will see the look on your face, I drop my clothes and I can make it. Not for you, but for him.
As of Monday, March 16th, Holbrook Public Schools would suspend all in-class learning for 2 weeks. On Sunday, March 15th, Governor Charlie Baker added another week to that suspension, as well as mandating the suspension for all Massachusetts schools. The COVID-19 outbreak caused administrations everywhere to take precautions. High school students around the state cheered, excited to stay at home instead of attending school, while the younger grades basked in the idea of this coronation. Senior classes began to think of what this break really meant.
Ruining my senior year experience in general. I don't get to see and spend time with all my friends and get like senior privileges and all of that, because the point of senior year is just having the time of your life, and it's probably one of the best times of probably one of the best years of your lives.
I'm definitely concerned about the possibility of not having school for the rest of the year. I really want to have a graduation. I want to perform the musical. I want to play baseball. I want to get to finish out the rest of my senior year, and it's really frustrating that there's a chance that that doesn't happen.
I didn't get to finish my school year the way I wanted. I didn't get to play my last season of baseball, and I didn't get to make the memories I got to fully, because we still have senior week, graduation, senior night, and all those are looking not so good.
With the moments before graduation fleeting, seniors have realized they may be missing out on their final time participating in activities. For now, all the senior class can do is sit and wait, hoping that they will throw caps together at graduation, instead of watching each other through a Skype call. This has been Caroline Duggan with Code Blue News. Back to you in the studio.
If the coronavirus doesn't get its act together and stop ruining the unforgettable experiences of high school and college kids by making us self-quarantine and keeping us away from our friends, I don't want it.
You may be a little bored during this little coronation where you're stuck inside, you're quarantined. Luckily, Nick Chaffee is on the case.
You know what, whatever, it's fine, I'll live. Hi, I don't have a script, and I'm Nick Chaffee, and this is a very bad segment. Today, I'm going to be talking about things to do while you're bored in your house. Why? Because a lot of you guys are bored. Tip number 1, playing an instrument. Now, why do I say play an instrument? It's because if you play an instrument, it can pass the time, and the satisfaction of doing something good on an instrument is unmatched. Trust me. Hey, that's great! Tip number 2, go out on a run. Now, it's kind of scary that I say go outside amidst all of this, but trust me, it'll be okay. A lot of neighborhoods in our area actually loop around each other. You can go around your block and just do a few laps, and it'll work out. Is it worth it? No. Boy, am I tired. That's kind of crazy. However, if you don't have that, and you might live on like a main road, if you live by the track, then you can go around that a few times. And if you want to, you can actually go run on the sidewalks for a little. But try to avoid as much contact as possible, because we're trying to enforce social distancing. Yeah, but no, if you think I'm going to be running on this or going to the track, you're kind of crazy. Tip number 3, finish your work. Why? Because one of you out there have been procrastinating for weeks to finish your work. And I know that because I'm one of those people. So, let's band together and just say it. Let's finish our work. Get your papers done, get all the stuff that you need to do done, so that you're actually able to catch up with all the stuff that you need, boost up your grade a few points, and, do a bunch of other stuff. Tip number 4, do some chores. No one likes chores, but guess what? You're gonna do chores. So if you want to, you can clean your room and you can do some dishes. And if you're in a fortunate household, you can get some chore money out of that if able. Hey Mom, I finished my dishes.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Look, it's all here.
There we go.
But if not, at least you'll be able to get some burden off your parents from having to clean the house for you, and you can do it for them. You know, it's like a win-win. They feel good, you feel good in the end, because let's admit it, we all feel good after cleaning our own room. And now finally, tip number 5, go take a nap. Why do I say take a nap? Because taking a nap is good. You can catch up on sleep that you've lost, and maybe you can actually get some ideas in your dreams. It's kind of crazy to think about, but it's the thing. I had a pretty weird dream last night though. I was in a car going through Boston, and I had this half-eaten bar of Twix. Sleeping will allow you to feel rested, feel good, and then you wake up, you might get some new ideas, or you might be able to, you know, do something else because time was killed. Finishing work, playing piano, and yeah, you can do a bunch of other stuff with it. Alright, let's recap. First tip, go and play an old instrument that you might have around the house. If you don't have that, or if you don't want to, go out on a run. Number 3, do work to keep your mind sharp and so that you can have a routine going. 4, do chores so that, again, you can have a routine going and that you can ease the stress off of your parents. Finally, 5, just take a nap so that you can be able to feel well rested and that you can be able to benefit from random ideas that you might be getting during the day. So, these were my 5 very scuffed tips on how to keep yourselves entertained during the outbreak. And now, this is Nick Chaffee, back to you in the studio. There is a studio to be back to. I don't know what's going on.
Professional sports leagues around the world are shutting down their seasons due to this new coronavirus. Matt Messina is here to tell us a little bit more about it.
In late February and early March, the coronavirus was quickly spreading in the United States. To avoid heavy gatherings, many sports offered to play their games without fans. On Wednesday afternoon, Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert brushed off this idea, thinking that the media was blowing the issue out of proportion. He finished the interview by touching microphones and team equipment just to be cocky about it. Ironically, Rudy Gobert himself would end up having the coronavirus. He would pass it on to multiple people unknowingly, including Utah Jazz teammate Donovan Mitchell and a kid from Rhode Island who got Gobert's autograph. After this, the NBA decided to postpone the season until the issue passes. This opened the floodgates for other sports to do the same. As more and more laws and regulations were set by the government, more sports decided to pull their plug on their seasons or large events. The NHL, MLS, MLB have all suspended seasons. However, the NBA and NHL still expect to have their playoffs. The WWE recently relocated WrestleMania 36 to their recreation facility, which will make it the first Mania without fans. The Masters Golf Tournament has been canceled for the first time since 1945. Arguably the biggest cancellation so far has been March Madness. March Madness is a college basketball tournament of 64 teams that electrifies the world of sports every 12 months. However, this is the first time in history that they have canceled the tournament. There haven't been many times throughout history when every single sport has been put on hold. From 1941 to 1945, our country was in World War II. Since America was in dire need of men for the Army, many athletes either enlisted or were drafted. After 9/11, many sports shut down in honor of victims or in genuine fear of terrorist attacks. The world of sports is completely shut down once again due to the coronavirus. As the months go on, all eyes turn to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Arguably the biggest sports gathering there is, will the event even take place with the risk of harming athletes and fans? And if it is still held, will athletes even bother going? The International Olympics Committee will see how things transpire in the coming months. Without sports, there have been a few alternatives. The NBA has been airing classic games on cable, while WWE has been playing classic pay-per-views on ESPN. Additionally, streaming services such as ESPN Plus and the streaming service that coincide with certain sports are offering free trials in this dire time. This is a dark time for sports, but it only makes it sweeter when they will return eventually. Naturally, sports are just a byproduct of the coronavirus outbreak. In reality, it should be the least of the worries of our society. So remember that eventually, if we stand together, tomorrow will be brighter. But we shouldn't actually stand together because we have to social distance. We are living in a very interesting and unfortunate time, and it's our responsibility to do our part and get through it. So wash your hands, stay home, and pray to your God that there's a brighter tomorrow. This is Matt Messina, back to you in the studio.
In a crisis like this, it's important to have a strong leader in your country. Andrew is here to talk to us about what our president's doing.
As 2020 kicked off, officials in the city of Wuhan in China were dealing with a new virus outbreak. Details were scarce, and the Chinese government wasn't giving much information on the amount of infected. The situation started ramping up in January, where the first death in China was reported and cases began popping up around the world, including the U.S. Although the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, began monitoring the situation closely and prepared preemptive measures, President Trump assured that the situation was under control and it would be handled just fine in the U.S. Trump's first major action came on January 31st, where his administration suspended entry into the U.S. by any foreigner that had visited China in the past 2 weeks. This didn't apply to U.S. residents or citizens. Throughout the month of February, Trump repeatedly stated that the virus wasn't an issue and people shouldn't worry about it. Then, on February 26th, Trump appointed Vice President Mike Pence to lead the U.S. response to the coronavirus outbreak. Over the next few days, President Trump accused multiple news networks, including MSNBC and CNN, of overblowing the virus's impact on the U.S. He also took shots at Democrats for the same thing. His rhetoric began shifting when March rolled around. As cases and deaths increased, Trump took more drastic actions to combat the virus and began to take things a little more seriously. March 13th, he declared a national emergency. 5 days later, he ordered that all evictions and foreclosures be suspended until the end of April. On March 20th, he invoked the Defense Production Act, which allows him to coordinate industries to produce medical supplies and other equipment. A coronavirus recovery bill is also making its way through Congress, and Trump is expected to sign it into law once it gets to him. This is an ongoing situation. Confirmed U.S. cases stand at over 60,000, and they are still growing. This has been Andrew LaRossi with Code Blue News, signing off.
Time for our final segment. What is the Holbrook Town Hall doing about all this?
COVID-19 has swept across the world, nation, and now even our town of Holbrook. Across the state of Massachusetts, there have been 382 confirmed cases, with 11 deaths. Throughout the world, various governments have taken drastic steps in order to protect their respective citizens. With the first case of coronavirus now confirmed in the town of Holbrook, the town government has taken further steps to protect its residents. The Board of Health recently closed all nail salons, hair care establishments, massage parlors, and other service businesses that cannot maintain a proper social distancing required, set forth by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. According to the Holbrook Sun, there are between 50 and 20 such businesses in Holbrook. There have also been a number of other major closures: the pre-K through 12 school, the town hall, senior center, library, playground, and ball fields, including the school fields. Now, this is the first wave of closures that have hit the town recently, and there could be more with state and federal restrictions increasing. Governor Baker recently issued a stay-at-home order across the state in order to minimize contact between residents. That is the ultimate goal of these closures, to minimize the amount of contact between our town's residents. COVID-19 can be greatly slowed by working to prevent its spread. It needs to come into contact with a person in order to infect them. If these rules were not in place, then people would continue to congregate at local hangouts, such as the park, and spread it amongst themselves. Once it is spread amongst them, they can potentially infect all of their friends and family members, exponentially increasing the spread of the disease. By preventing this congregation, the town is working to slow the spread of COVID-19, and therefore preventing the further stretching of resources, further damage, and further death that this disease has put the world through. This situation is likely to continue over the next few weeks, and we here at Code Blue News will continue to update you all, even as we are out of school. For now, I'm Niall Horgan of Code Blue News. Stay safe, everyone.
Guys, it's been great. It's been fun. I'm Matt Messina.
And I'm Dominic Costa. We hope to see you May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.